Hi, this is Dave Schleis, and I'm coming to you not at all live from Kscope 13, where I'm sitting down with this year's Editor's Choice Award winner, David Schleis. David, thanks for being here. Would you care to wear a hat? You're very welcome, but no thank you. All right, be that way. So, what brings you to Kscope? Well, it's the same thing that's brought me back every single year since I attended my very first ODTUG conference back in 1999. Yes, there's one thing that brings me back year after year, and that's the people. At Kscope, you'll find some of the smartest and most influential people in the industry. A conference for developers put on by developers. The people who use the products you use, who create the products you use, who write the books about the products you use. You know, you get the best and the brightest from around the world, presenting over 300 technical sessions on every aspect of Oracle-related development. You know, it's really this outstanding content that brings me back year after year. So I guess it's two things that bring me to Kscope this year, and that's the people and the outstanding content. You know, it's really fun when you're sitting in a session and there right next to you is one of the shining stars from our geeky little galaxy. They're here to learn as well as present. And what's even better is that after the session, these people are willing to talk to you. You know, I remember at my very first ODTUG conference, they had a Meet the Authors session. And what was really great is that I was talking with the people who literally wrote the book on Oracle, and they were speaking to me as a peer. It was a great experience. But it's not just the presenters and the authors who are willing to exchange ideas. Kscope is crawling with smart IT professionals who face the same challenges that you face and may have solved them in ways that you may never thought of. Yeah, if there's one thing that brings me to Kscope every year, it's these networking opportunities. Okay, so I guess it's three. The three things that bring me to Kscope are the people, the outstanding content, and these exceptional networking opportunities. Oh, and the food, that's terrific. Thank you very much. I see here that this isn't the first time you've won the Editor's Choice Award. And in fact, back in 2006, your paper, Polish Up Your Web Applications with Ajax, took the prize. That's a clever title. In fact, I see here that these cheeky little titles seem to be your trademark, so to speak. What's this one? Kicking the Asp out of Designer? Really? What, you don't like that one? See, what I did was build a framework that used data from the Designer repository to build Visual Basic classes that I then used with Active Server pages. Active Server pages? Dating ourselves a bit, aren't we? Let's see, what else do we have here? PHP-I for an Oracle guy. Java Server Faces, not just another framework in the crowd. Oh, what's this one? XX rated? Come on now. Okay, so actually the second half of that title was XPath, XQuery, and XML schemas explained. So it's explained without the E, so it's explained. Get it? Yes, I get it. So what cutesy little title do you have for us this year? Well, the title is What? You're Still Not Using Groovy? And as I explained at the beginning of the paper... Aha! Aha what? Aha, you said that the subject of your paper is Groovy. Yeah, Groovy, it's a aha! Again, aha? Isn't it true that 5 years ago, the last time ODTUG was in New Orleans, you gave a presentation titled, A Better Way to Do Java? Well, that's just Groovy. Well, yeah, but as I explained so this award-winning paper of yours is really nothing more than a stale beignet plucked from the putrid gutters of Bourbon Street, piled high with fresh powdered sugar, and perched on a pretty polished plate. No, wait, what? So you're saying that not one word of this paper was in your paper from 2008? Of course not. That's ridiculous. Ridiculous? Really? Isn't it true that you routinely criticize presenters who resubmit abstracts year after year? Well, I may have said something somewhat like that in the past. Maybe. So then tell us, please, what is it about this topic that makes it so deserving of a rerun? Well, as I was trying to say, I go into that at the beginning of the paper. You see, it was two conversations I had while at Kscope 12 in San Antonio that made me want to present on Groovy again. Please enlighten us. As you had said, I gave a presentation on Groovy 5 years ago, and it was actually very well received. Was it? Yes it was. In fact, it got the highest evaluation scores at the Fusion and Middleware Symposium. Anyhow, I struck up a conversation with somebody I remember as attending that session and showing a lot of interest in Groovy. And I asked them if he was using Groovy at his workplace, and he explained that as happens too many times, when you come home from a conference with great ideas, the daily activities that you need to do to get your job done get in the way of doing anything new. So then he said, remind me what's so great about using Groovy. And I told him, I said, there's one thing that makes Groovy so great to use, and it's just so easy. You can just write your code and run it. You don't have to do set up any of the scaffolding that's required to do Java programming. You don't have to compile it, but you can compile it. See, that's what really makes it so cool, it's this versatility. You can write scripts or full web applications. Yeah, if there's one thing that makes Groovy great, it's the versatility. So it's the ease of use and the versatility. That's what I told him. Because you'd really be hard-pressed to find a more versatile programming language than Groovy, because the same language that does scripting you can use to write full-scale Java applications. And because it can run Java, because it is Java, you have access to the incredible array of Java libraries out there. And that's what makes Groovy so great, is this power. So that was it. That was it. I told him there's three things that make Groovy great to use, and that it's ease of use, its incredible versatility, and the power. Oh, and then there's closures. Yes, very interesting. But didn't you say there were two conversations? Yeah, and the second conversation took place at the welcome event. And I was wandering around just saying howdy to all the people I met over the years, and I saw Joe Altman, so I went over to talk to him. And if you don't know Joe is a regular presenter on S-Base topics, but I had met him playing Werewolf, and I don't recall ever having a technical conversation with him up to that point, simply because I did not think our worlds overlapped in any way. Anyhow, I wandered up to Joe and was waiting for him to finish his conversation, and I heard him say something like, blah, 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 Groovy, blah, blah, blah. Well, the time for waiting was over. I had to interrupt, and I said, Joe, did you say Groovy, as in the programming language Groovy? And it turns out that what had happened is Joe had read an article that was published of mine. It was published in the ODTUG Technical Journal, and it was on Grails. Now, wait, let me guess. The title had something to do with the Holy Grail. Well, yeah, I think it was something like Discovered the Holy Grail of Web Application Development. And of course you found a way to bring Monty Python into it. Well, yeah, a bit. Anyway, what Joe read was enough to get him interested in using Groovy to do S-Base scripting using the Java API. And what he did worked so well that in fact he gave a presentation on the topic at Kscope 11. Unfortunately, I had no idea that he was using Groovy because I never look at S-Base presentations. I just thought there would be nothing I was interested in. And Joe also didn't realize that I was the one who had written the article. And at some point during the conversation, he said something like, I want to thank you for changing the way I do my job. And as a writer and a presenter, it's comments like these that you really live for. So, because of these two conversations, I realized that while I still had my original target audience, there was a whole nother audience opened up to me because of S-Base. I don't know if this is on your little cards there, but I spent a year on the ODTUG board and a year on the Kscope 12 conference committee. And throughout this time, it was a goal of mine to find a way to bring ODTUG more together, to make us a more unified group, to make the conference feel less like a co-located event. Great job on that. Yes, thanks for pointing that out. I did say it was a goal, not an accomplishment. So, anyhow, while I was unsuccessful at effecting this type of change working from the top down, I saw Groovy as a means of starting this change working from the bottom up. So I asked Joe if he would tell his story as part of a presentation on Groovy. I reworked the white paper and the slide deck, and I covered the basics of Groovy, and Joe talked about how he was using Groovy to do S-Base scripting. I see here that you're also doing a webinar. Yeah, we did it already actually. You can find it on ODTUG.com. I took a few more things out of my presentation so that Joe could have more time to get deeper into the great things he's doing with Groovy and S-Base. So I see here you also have a book credit, A Time for Ghosts. So what is this one about? Using cron jobs to manage zombie processes? Actually, that's a children's book, but I like the way you think. Funny story. The creation of this book actually has an ODTUG tie-in. See what I was in Chicago. Yes. Thank you. Fascinating stuff, really, but it looks like we're out of time. And speaking of time, join me next time when I'll ask Jeff Smith if Twitter is merely an addiction or a socially acceptable way of nurturing his narcissistic nature. Thank you, and good day.